baseball in downtown Denver. Giants at 30-20, the Rockies at 23-24. Rocks got a win last night because Tyler Chatwood set the tone. His 6th victory. He went 7 strong innings, his 7th quality start of the season. And the Rockies now 5-3 against San Francisco this season and 14-12 against the NL West. That guy was awesome. Let's hope the pitchers can continue and take a cue from Tyler Chatwood as we go upstairs to Drew and Jeff. Guys.
Mark, thank you very much. Really, all season long, Tyler Chatwood has been outstanding. Even the games at Coors Field that didn't go his way at the beginning of the season, he got painted a little bit. His stuff has been just electric. And the Giants, you could see by their swings last night.
Yeah, we were talking to a few of the Giants players. They said he had so much movement on his baseball last night, sinking fastballs where even the left-handers weren't able to. They were getting jammed. So now for Tyler, they needed that as a ball club for getting in so late the night before. But he's 6-3 with a 2.69 ERA, 2.67. I mean, that's impressive for a guy that's missed a lot of time the last 2 years.
Absolutely. He has been marvelous, and now the Rockies turn the page. They have a tough assignment today. They're going against Madison Bumgarner, who is 6-2 and is pitching his best baseball of the year over the last 5 or 6 starts, and Eddie Butler, who seems to have the Giants number.
Well, and for Eddie, he's 1-0 this year, 3-0 against the Giants in his career, but Madison Bumgarner is just one of those guys right now that just seems to be clicking again on all cylinders. 1.25 ERA in his last 6 starts because he is 5-0, and this was a start against the Cubs where he gave 6 punch-outs, 3 hits, and 7 2/3 without giving up a run. But Eddie Butler, I think what Corey was saying, you know, one of the things to look for is that Butler did it again, because Eddie is a much different pitcher this year than he was last year. Defeated the Giants earlier in the season. But here's a guy that's been asked to do a couple times this year to come out of the bullpen in a different role. He hasn't barked at that. He hasn't said, well, I'm starting. No, he's done his job when he's been asked to do that. And now it's going to be a tough task again. He's going up against Mad Bum. But still, Eddie is, you could just see the confidence on the hill with him this year.
Well, the Rockies have some momentum. They've won 5 consecutive games at home. And as we've been discussing, Eddie Butler has thrown the baseball very well. Challenge on their hands with Madison Bumgarner, but the Rockies always up for taking on the Giants. Colorado, San Francisco, come on back to Coors Field with us. to a beautiful day in lower downtown Denver. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Rockies and the San Francisco Giants. The Rockies have won 5 of the first 8 encounters against the Giants. Cooled them off a little bit yesterday. They had come in winners of 13 of their previous 14 games. Hottest team in all of baseball. Rockies won yesterday 5-2. You see Eddie Butler throwing his last pitches before getting ready to go. 2-2 with a .358.
Let's see that strikeout to walk ratio. That's impressive. The whip very low. Eddie's done everything he's been asked of this year.
He has stepped forward, and here's the lineup he will face. Bruce Bochy and the Southwest batting order. He's got a couple of his big boys back in there. Brandon Belt, who sat out a couple of days with an ankle, he's in there. Hunter Pence missed 6 games with a hamstring. He's back in there. Blanco, Panic, Duffy, Posey, Belt, Pence, Parker. When Brandon Crawford's hitting 8th, you have a deep lineup.
Oh.
And let's not forget the guy in the 9-hole can flat rake also, and Madison Bumgarner, probably the best hitting pitcher in the game.
Totally agree with that, and a lot of power from Madison.
Legit power, in fact, and we'll talk about that when it comes to the plate. In terms of raw power on a team with Brandon Belt and Hunter Pence, they say raw power-wise, Bumgarner has the most on the team. Here's the 0-1, and it's top foul. Quickly a 2-strike count on Blanco, hitting in the leadoff spot for just the 3rd time this year. Normally it's Angel Pagan. He has a hamstring, and he's on the disabled list.
And earlier today it was Denard Span until they scratched him late.
That's right. Span has a hip that's been bothering him. He ran into the wall in the San Diego series and he kind of played through it, but it was nagging him enough that he was a late scratch to the lineup today. Swung on and missed. Butler strikes out. Blanco, 1 gone. Let's take a look at the arsenal of Eddie Butler.
Fastball, and that's a 2-seam fastball this year for Eddie. Something he's perfected and worked real hard at. Batting, opposing batting average against is .250. The curveball 100. He has the largest increase in his slugging percentage on the fastball this year compared to what it was last year. So that tells you he's not leaving it over the middle portion of the plate.
Joe Panic takes ball 1. And that misses 2-0. Another thing Eddie's doing this year, and it's kind of been a trend, led, I believe, by Chad Bettis, is he's getting the baseball, getting right back on the rubber. That's in there.
I think it's a race between all of these guys. Is that pitch caught the bottom of the Subaru strike zone? Who could be the fastest of getting the pitch off between the last one and this one?
Seems that way, doesn't it? Just misses. 3-1. And outside, so a walk, which has been unusual for Eddie. Just 4 walks now on the season. Here's the Rockies defensively. Kicked it a couple times yesterday, which is unusual for them. Rayburn's in left field today against the left-handed pitcher Bumgarner. Blackman and Cargo's the other 2 in the outfield. Arenado, Story. Christian Adames giving DJ LeMahieu the day off. Mark Reynolds at first, and Dustin Garneau, a right-handed bat again against Bumgarner. So 1 out, 1 on, and here's Matt Duffy. And that's in there for a strike.
Even with the 2 errors yesterday by the Rockies, they still stayed 4th in the National League with a .988 fielding percentage.
Think about this, Huey. They have 22 errors on the season, which is a low figure. 8 of the 22 errors have been committed by pitchers.
You can go up and down. DJ only has 1 error. Nolan has 1 error. Trevor 4 errors. Mark Reynolds 2 errors. And how many times did those guys?
And I still haven't figured out Nolan's error, because it was on that throw in from Cargo that took a hop, and I don't know how Nolan ended up with that error. In my mind, he really hasn't committed one yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'd put it the other way. It wasn't until the next day that I had to realize to change it.
0-2. Hit his elbow guard. That's not good. So now you have 2 on. And Buster Posey coming up.
This was a 2-for-1, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Subaru Supermo catching him on the elbow guard, and then it ricochets off him and goes and hits Buster Posey.
That's a bad miss.
Real bad to miss 6-8 inches inside.
Ahead 0-2. So Posey's up now with some traffic. Posey has not figured out Eddie Butler. 0 for 9 in his career against Butler. Played first yesterday. He's behind the plate this afternoon. This is the first of 3 straight day ball games for the Rockies. Tomorrow naturally, and also on Memorial Day on Monday with the Reds in town. Center field well hit. Blackman going back, and it is gone. 3-run home run, Buster Posey. And Eddie Butler, who has been in command throughout this year, not walking guys, puts 2 on. And now instead of a solo home run, you got a 3 spot up for the Giants. First career hit for Posey against Butler.
The same location as Buster Posey hit the triple last night. But you fall behind to hitters, and especially somebody like Buster Posey, 1-0, doesn't bite at the slider, and then he gets a fastball taking it into the Giants bullpen. Buster this year was just hitting a mere 196 with runners in scoring position, but for his career, he's a 320.
Well, those 2 guys, you know, they've been saying, you know, really haven't gotten hot yet. Duffy and Posey. Posey just gave him a 3-0 lead. That right there, that sequence was Eddie a year ago. A walk, 0-2 on a guy, and he hits him. That has not been what he has done most of this year. And that's going to be on 2 hops up the middle. Easy play for Story. You say it in every ballpark, but it is pronounced here at Coors Field. You cannot give out freebies, because you're going to give up hits here, and you're going to give up home runs here typically.
Well, and maybe against another starting pitcher not named Madison Bumgarner or Clayton Kershaw. I mean, those type of guys, you don't want to fall behind fall behind in the first inning against.
No, they don't need a ton of run support. Pence takes ball 1. First start for Hunter Pence in 8 days. Giants do that a lot. They did it earlier with Pagan. What I'm talking about is if a guy gets hurt, they don't think it's really a 2-week injury. They won't put him on the DL. They'll play a man short even if it's a week or so. One and 2 on Pence. Pence was lobbying to get in the lineup yesterday.
He was out running sprints. He was doing all kinds of things to say, I'm ready to go. But they were just a touch concerned with the wet field, with a little bit of the moisture. Although it didn't rain a whole lot, they were afraid that that might re-aggravate the injury.
They say sometimes he's a product of his own toughness and gung-ho attitude.
But there was a stretch too where he didn't miss a game for a few years.
Yep.
He played not only every game, every inning.
Strike 3, got locked up there. So Butler comes back and he strikes out Pence, but damage done. A walk, a hit batter, and a 3-run home run, Buster Posey. To do 3-0 on the Buster Posey home run, and the Rockies will begin with Charlie Blackmon as they typically do. Charlie's reached in 22 consecutive games. Here's Walt Weiss's lineup this afternoon, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Trevor Story will hit second after hitting seventh his last 2 starts. Nolan will bat third, Cargo fourth, Mark Reynolds fifth, Ryan Rayburn will bat sixth, then Christian Adames, Dustin Garneau, and Eddie Butler against Madison Bumgarner. And over last 6 starts for Bumgarner, he's 5-0 with a 1.25 ERA. The opposition, Jeff, hitting just 191 against him.
Pretty special for Madison Bumgarner. This was a guy that people were worried about in spring training, had an ERA over 11. What's wrong with him? Well, not much. The 54 hits allowed in 66 in the 3rd inning, and also 77 strikeouts for Madison Bumgarner. Career 91 and 60, a 603 win percentage. 10th among active pitchers.
And the first pitch is in there for a strike. Charlie's 4 for 10 against Bumgarner. Bumgarner an ERA a little over 4 at Coors Field in his career. And this ball's well hit to center field. Really well hit. And it is off the base of the wall. Charlie into second with a double. That's a good start.
Great start, because it extends Chuck Nasty's on-base streak to 23 ball games. That's why you keep him in the lineup. Gorgeous swing on the Subaru Supermo, and then taking it out to the deepest part of the ballpark. Charlie hustling into second base for a leadoff double. That's how you at least get this inning started. Maybe answer with a run or 2.
Trevor Story will be next against Bumgarner. Story has seen him just 3 times, 1 for 3. He's hitting .371 though against the Giants. You know, Charlie before that at bat, Huey, hitting .281 against lefties, so he's hanging in there fine against lefties.
Charlie every year he tries to improve on something. Well, and now it's just kind of fine-tuning all of his strengths.
Strike the count on Story. Trevor yesterday 2 for 4, run scoring double in the 4th, and he had a run scoring single in the 8th. Homered at the 7th spot in Boston and Fenway on Thursday. Goes back to the 2 spot for today's encounter against Madison Bumgarner. He really crossfires, Huey, doesn't he?
And it's tough to pick up because he's 6'5" too. So when he crossfires you, where does the ball come from? And it's the hardest thing to do as a hitter, to figure that out. But it's also hard on the pitcher when they crossfire that much, because most of the time, or a lot of times, they don't have the command that other guys have.
And that was something that early in the season, you mentioned spring training and the issues. You discount it with a pitcher as great as Bumgarner. But early in the season, he didn't have his real good fastball command. One of the reasons he's been Madison Bumgarner the last month, he's had the fastball command.
It goes to show you that it doesn't matter who you are. You're a 3-time All-Star like Madison. You're still going to have to tweak and figure things out sometimes on the fly.
3-1.
Caught a break on that last pitch on the Subaru strike zone. The 4th pitch looked like it was on the corner, but that's not where they had set up.
This ball on the ground is short. Low throw, but it's handled by Bell. So Story unable to advance. Blackmon 1 out. San Francisco will have Jared Parker in left field. Pence is back in his customary spot in right field. Blanco's in the middle. Duffy, Crawford, Panik, Bell, Belt, Crawford in particular, very good defenders. Good, real good, solid infield. Buster Posey does a strong job behind the plate. So with one out, Nolan is at the plate. Nolan, 214 lifetime, a couple of home runs against Bumgarner. I think it's imperative, especially with a 3-0 start. I would say this even if the Rockies got out of that first inning unscathed. You have a leadoff double. You got to cash it in, especially against a pitcher like Bumgarner.
When he's 5-0 in his last 6 games, also a complete game thrown in there with a 1.25 ERA. You have to get one marker at minimum.
That's a strike. And Nolan's 36 runs batted in have come against the Giants. Hitting .394 against San Francisco this year. Panic keeping Blackman close to the bag. 1-2. See a pattern? He's staying away from Nolan as any wise pitcher would.
And with the numbers of Nolan against San Francisco, the home runs he's hit in his career, they say if you're going to beat me, most of the time they say this late in the game, but even with Nolan they say you're going to beat me if you hit it to the opposite field.
That is close, just outside, 2-2. See on the Subaru strike zone, didn't miss by much.
And this will get a hitter start to lean out, start to figure out. And sometimes then pitchers will pop you inside with the fastball. And it'll just freeze you because your attention is so much to the outside third.
Posey staying away, and he gets the strikeout.
Right fielder, number 5.
The pattern was to pitch him away, and that's exactly what they did. Buster sets up probably 3 inches off the plate. But you also have to have the pitcher that hit his spot. Madison did.
Two outs. Cargo will take his turn. Cargo, a .320 lifetime hitter and 50 at bats against Bumgarner. He owns 5 home runs against him. This ball in the air to center field, pretty well hit, but playable for Woo. I thought Blanco was going to catch it. I think Parker thought Blanco was going to catch it in the last instant. It was Parker making the catch. So the Rockies waste the leadoff double by Blackman. 3-0 Giants. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by your hometown Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Mark Stout at the ballpark. The Rockies trailing 3-0. Posey, a 3-run home run in the first against Butler. 7-8-9 for the Giants in inning number 2. Jared Parker lines the first pitch to right. Pargo is over in right center. He's got a long run. And Parker has a leadoff double.
Second double this season for Jared and a late addition to the lineup. Originally as an extra. He's moved out there when Span was backed out of the lineup. And he answers the bell with a double.
So here's Brandon Crawford, who's the second leading RBI man for the Giants, and he's hitting in the 8th spot. Pence leads the club, and he's hitting 6th.
Crawford last night hit 5th.
It's not only that the Giants have a lot of offensive talent, as you look at Pence, it's also that they really grind at bats out. And Hugh, you know what I mean by that.
You know, it reminds me of somebody the Rockies just played in Pittsburgh. I mean, the way those guys grind at bats out, and they'll foul pitches off, and they'll make you wait. I think that's why it's even more impressive what Tyler Chatwood did last night in his outing. Got a lot of early swings and ground balls and outs in his performance.
2-1. And they won't, you know, they won't expand. You don't throw them a strike, they'll drop their bat and head on down to first. See some free swinging clubs that you can get them out of the strike zone consistently. Giants are not one of those clubs. And this is going to get the job done for Crawford. He moves up Parker. That's what the Rockies were missing in the first inning. Get to move him over. And Trevor's at bat. So now Madison Bumgarner, who over the last 3 years has 26 RBIs, way more than anybody else in baseball. He has 12 career home runs. And the Rockies are forced to bring the infield in, already down 3-0.
He just stands like a big league hitter when he's up at the plate.
Listen, he's a lumberjack. He's a big, strong, gifted athlete. 0-1 on Bumgarner. And Eddie with a good slider. It's fouled off 0-2. Yesterday, talking to Billy Hayes and Ron Wotus, we were visiting with them, and he told us that, because I asked him, I said, do you think if Bumgarner was the pitcher he was, and somehow it flamed out, kind of like a David Peralta, Rick Ankiel, who suffered through the issues of throwing strikes, could he get back to the big leagues as a hitter? And they both agreed absolutely. They said, you know, he probably wouldn't hit for a high average, probably, you know, 240s, but he'd hit 30+ home runs.
So a question for you, if they were playing in an American League ballpark and he's pitching, do you think he hits or they DH for him? I mean, that's a great question. That tells you what kind of hitter he is.
I got to check this out. We'll have to ask Kuiper and Kruko. He pinch hits a fair amount during the season, and I want to say he has pinch hit before when a position player was available. Just got to double check that. The only other pitcher out there that's active with 12 home runs is Giovanni Gallardo. 2-2. This ball lined to deep left. And it'll get the run home as Rayburn makes the catch. Jared Parker scores 4-0 San Francisco. Third RBI for Bumgarner.
But a manufactured RBI with the leadoff double. A weak ground ball by Brandon Crawford to second base, but that's all he was trying to do. And then the line drive RBI sac fly from Bumgarner.
2 outs. Gregor Blanco coming up. You can join in on the conversation every night this season. Send us your thoughts, photos, questions. Use your favorite social media platform. Include the hashtag Toyota Talk. That'll get it done. Blanco struck out on a slider. Down and in his first time up. Curveball for a strike. Rockies in the midst of playing 27 straight days.
Because of that rain out in Pittsburgh.
Lifted to left, and that's going to drift out of play.
And I've had some people ask me, say, well, why is it 27 in a row? They didn't play on Sunday in Pittsburgh. Yeah, technically there was no score, but the guys came, they started the game, so that counts as a game played.
Well, they had to gear up and go through all
right.
the back, and
but
they did
people
play
are
one
saying,
inning.
but they did. The stats don't count.
They had to go to the ballpark. And again, with what it takes to prepare to play a major league game for Walt and his staff, for players, talking about hours and hours. Good pitch to strike out Blanco. Hours and hours before the game. So, you know, take today, 2 o'clock start. A lot of players are here at 9 in the morning. 4-0 San Francisco. Francisco leading as we go to the bottom of the second. Mark Reynolds is in the batter's box. He'll lead it off. Ryan Rayburn and Christian Adames as well in inning number 2 against Madison Bumgarner. The Rockies got a leadoff double from Charlie Blackmon last inning. Story grounded out to the left side, didn't move him. Nolan struck out. Cargo flew out to deep left center. Strike 1. Home plate umpire is Manny Gonzalez, first native of Venezuela to reach the big leagues as an umpire. He's joined at first by Jim Reynolds, C.B. Buckner at second, Field and Colbreth, the crew chief, at third. It's Colbreth. Manny Gonzalez, you know, we talk about Latin players often signing when they're 16. That's when you can first sign. Manny Gonzalez was umpiring Winter League games at 16. He has worked the Caribbean Series
which is
10
huge.
different times.
I mean, that's huge when you're talking about the Caribbean. That's where you get all the countries together to see who's the world champion of the Caribbean leagues. It's usually held in January before camp opens up a month later.
So Manny, a ton of experience. 2-2 on Reynolds, having a terrific year. Mark got fooled there. Second strikeout for Bumgarner.
Left fielder, number 6.
That'll bring up Ryan Rayburn.
What makes Madison so tough, and we'll show you from straight on here, is the way he steps. This is throwing across your body right there when he lands. He should be in this area right there. Instead, the ball's hidden behind him, and it's a crossfire.
There's lots to cover too, Huey. He's not throwing quite as hard as he used to, but it's still firm. You know, he's 91 to 93, averaging about 91, but his curveball is in the mid-70s.
And so when you drop off the velocity, your bat can't stay in the hitting zone for as long, and that's why he's able to do this. See the difference between his fastball and his curveball? Only Clayton Kershaw has a higher difference in his velocity between the fastball and curveball. Kershaw is 19.8 miles an hour different.
Fisted to Duffy at third. 2 outs. Rayburn retired, and that'll bring up Christian Adames. Folks, you know the drill. If the Rockies score 7 or more in any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the following day. Make sure you do it between 4 and 6 to receive your Rockies taco special at Moss at Taco Bell. Adames, switch hitter in from the right side against Bumgarner. Christian has faced Madison 3 times. He has 2 hits against him. Also has driven in a couple of runs. And he's got 3 hits against him. He just owns him. Got a baby Christian, huh?
The last week, the way he has been swinging the bat from both sides of the plate.
Not easy to do, Huey, is it?
Not when he's getting the kind of starts that he gets. He's played 30 games, but only has 43 at-bats. So a lot of them's coming in for a pinch hit or maybe a defense late in the game. But you have Nolan starting a lot, Trevor starting a lot, DJ. There's nothing wrong with DJ. It's just a planned day off, and Walt wants to try to kind of maneuver some of these different pieces around so guys will get days off in the next 3 or 4 days.
He's going to have to get Nolan, even though he's not going to want to. He's going to have to get him off his feet at some point. That'll be a fun meeting.
Yeah. Nolan, I'm going to give you the day up. No, you're not. Yeah, I am.
Don't need one.
I'm good. But I'm sure somebody with like Nolan that he would tell him the night before. They'd have that argument the night before.
Garneau grounds into the force out. That'll end the second inning. We'll go to the third. The Giants leading 4-0. Home run in the first from Buster Posey. They're up 4-0 as we go to the third. Let's check in with Brad Thompson. Brad?
Drew, this day in baseball history, May 28th, 1951, Giants great Willie Mays picked up his first major league hit. It was a home run off Braves pitcher Warren Spahn. Now, exactly a year later, May 28th, 1952, after going 0 for 4 in the game, he received a standing ovation at Ebbets Field, walking off the field from the Dodgers faithful. Why? Because he was reporting for military duty. He would miss the rest of the 52 season and the 53 season. He's a baseball great and one many people in this country that were so grateful for their military service so we can enjoy baseball games like we are here today.
Well, Willie Mays served, Ted Williams, so many guys served. World War II and Korean War period. Willie Mays, many believe, is the greatest all-around player who ever put spikes on. And I will tell you this. You know, Willie began his career in New York playing at the Polo Grounds, and then he moved to Candlestick, panic on 2 hops at Adamas. He hit 660 home runs. Anybody that ever visited Candlestick, much less played at Candlestick, and Huey, you played at Candlestick, to hit the ball out of Candlestick, he actually changed his swing. He said because you couldn't hit the ball out to left field. It was just the wind was always blowing in. So he actually tried to hit the ball more straight away. Willie was more of a pull hitter initially.
This tells you how gifted he was in being able to do that, change his swing, understand where he was playing.
It's down the left field line. Extra bases for Matt Duffy.
Catcher number 28, Buster Posey.
Mays is still a regular in the Giants clubhouse.
Matt Duffy breaks a streak, being 0 for his last 24 out on the road with that double.
So Posey will come up, but Willie's always around, and
He
he's
is.
playing cards at the clubhouse. Imagine that. You walk in, you can talk to Willie Mays on a regular basis.
Special treat.
Posey lifts this one to shallow right. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Brandon Belt.
Your dad talks about being able to watch Willie Mays play.
Yeah, you know what? My dad worked the press gate at the Polo Grounds in '51, his rookie season. Back then there was 154 games, thus 77 home games, and my dad saw 70 of the 77 home games, was fortunate enough to be at the shot heard round the world when Bobby Thompson took Ralph Branca deep. And he said Willie Mays, because this was before there were games regularly on television, he said Willie Mays one time was sprinting into the left center field gap. This is in the air to shallow center. Charlie will have it. He's sprinting to left center field, and he couldn't get across with his glove, so he reached out and caught it with his bare hand. Remember Ken Mitchell did that?
Yeah, but only Willie Mays can make it look graceful.
Yeah, absolutely. 4-0 Giants. Health is tracking the number of walks and the distance the Rockies earn throughout the season. Start tracking your own steps today to get fit. So far, the Rockies have walked 130 times. That totals 11,770 feet. Thank our friends at UC Health. 0-1 on Eddie Butler, 9-1-2 for the Rockies in the third inning. Bumgarner's given up 2 hits, a double to Blackman, and a single with 2 outs to Christian Adames last inning. Bumgarner striking out more than 10 hitters per 9 innings, which is the highest rate of his career.
So one of those comical stats when you're reading about Bumgarner. He said, oh, he's walked 20 guys when he only walked 39 all of last year. 20 walks in 10 games, 10 starts. Rockies rookies members can run the bases after the May 29th game open to kids 15 and under. Members get discounted Rockies ticket, access to members only events and more. So that's tomorrow. Rockies rookies can run the base, but you got to join.
So with 1 out, Blackman will take his second turn against Madison Bumgarner. He hit a double off the base of the center field wall in the bottom of the first. Unfortunately, he got stranded at second.
This is the way you start off a game against somebody like Madison. You hit a double into the gap. Unfortunately, that's as far as Charlie got that whole inning.
Outside 2-0.
Yeah, with Madison falling behind 2-0. That's the first time today, because he had been 9 for 9 on first pitch strikes.
And Charlie hits a fly ball to Pence.
Shortstop, number 20.
2 outs, nobody on. Trevor Story will come up. Story got to a 3-1 count against Bumgarner after the leadoff double in the first by Blackman. Fastball count, and he hit the ball on the ground right at Brandon Crawford. So Blackman couldn't advance. '29 extra base hits, leading the National League. Story's got a slugging percentage of .590. Look at the highest slugging percentages by shortstops in the National League since '74. The former Giant Rich Aurelia, that big home run year. Tulowitzki, 2010, .568.
Ramirez was on that list who the Rockies just saw, but he's a first baseman now.
First baseman now. He's in a power spot.
That is a slugging percentage. I mean, a position.
Sure. Talking in the clubhouse today with Vinny Castilla and Eric Young about Hanley Ramirez. DY was flashing back to his days playing football at Rutgers. And he said, when I got there, I was a 155-pound wideout. He said those DBs were throwing me around. I had to get in the weight room because I'm always teasing EY about being a closet weightlifter, because he was coming out of the weight room today, and EY is still very, very strong. He said, I had to get strong in a hurry. And somehow the conversation then drifts to Hanley Ramirez. I said, he looks like a strong safety and outside linebacker. And Vinny said, is he that big? Is he bigger than Cargo? And EY said, you know, as big and as strong as Cargo is, the arms Cargo has on him, Hanley Ramirez, man, it's ridiculous.
And he's dropped some weight and gotten lean and strong.
3-1 is hitting the seats foul. 3-2 on Story.
But to me, that also means the beauty of this game of baseball, because then we see Dustin Pedroia and his side. It doesn't matter. It's just the talent level you have. You don't have to be 6'6" 250, 300 pounds or tall. You can be whatever your body is, and you can play this wonderful game.
Yeah, good point. That's line to center field, and coming in and making the catch is Blanco. So it's a 1-2-3 inning in the third for the Rockies. We move to the fourth. 4-0 Giants. Nothing. 3-run home run in the first by Buster Posey, and then they got a sac fly by Madison Bumgarner. So 4-0 on the Rockies, and it'll be Hunter Pence leading off in the fourth. I'm really concerned about something, Huey.
What's that?
Well, as great a job as Doug Marino has done for a number of years for us as a stat guy, research guy in baseball, and he travels with me during basketball and football season, and he's the best. He is the best in the business, but I think that we may lose Dougie to being an intrepid reporter / Charlie Rose kind of interviewer.
One of those deep thinking interviews, right?
Yes, yeah,
hard-hitting,
long form kind of interview, because this was Doug today hugging it up with Jake Peavy, and he did a long interview with Peavy on the Grateful Dead, because Peavy, that's bobbled by Adames, and that'll be an error on Christian. So Pence reaches. First error on Adames this year. But Doug, being a music aficionado, especially when it comes to like Widespread Panic and the Grateful Dead, well, Jake Peavy has become quite a musician, and they discussed their musical interests and their love affair with the Grateful Dead. And so rather than you or me going to do the interview, we would be ill-equipped, so
yes,
we had to send Marino.
And I don't think, at least I don't, maybe you have the Brooklyn Cyclones Grateful Dead jersey that he wore today.
I saw that. Yeah, no, I don't have that. So we wouldn't fit in either. We wouldn't know what to wear.
And the reason why he had the Grateful Dead jersey, the Brooklyn Cyclones, is because the Dead were playing a gig out there, and then they sang the national anthem.
So one of the questions that Doug asked of Peavy was, where there you got the shirt
Dougie,
out there.
let me show you.
One of the questions he asked of Peavy was, I love that Cyclones jersey, was how he got involved in music. Here was the response. We'll show it to you after this pitch to Jared Parker.
I got started actually from our third base coach, Tim Flannery, who's now retired. Spent many years in San Diego as a player, coach, and here in San Francisco as well. When I was 20, he bought me my first guitar, and I started playing with it on the road. And 15 years later, here we are with somewhat of an obsession.
And Doug has looked up his band and watched him play, and he gave him the 2 thumbs up. He's quite a musician now, quite a guitar player. He's got a group. And
he's got the drummer from Widespread Panic. See, I didn't even know. That's why that's why we need Doug to be able to do it.
And that's a tiger, is that right, Doug? That's what I looked at it, right? It's a tiger. Yeah, that's one of Jerry Garcia's
you did not know
old
that.
guitars. Oh yeah, you don't know the difference between a Gibson and a Tiger? I'll coach you up on this.
Okay, thank you.
2-2 on Parker. Swung on and missed. Butler
job, Eddie.
with his 4th strikeout.
So that's on tomorrow on the pregame show. The whole interview.
Gonna get a big bowl of popcorn. I can't wait.
It's gonna be fun.
Doug, did you put makeup on, by the way, for that? You didn't borrow any of our makeup? That would have been a wise decision. Here's Brandon Crawford. He grounded to second his first time up. Moved Jared Parker from second to third. Set up Bumgarner's sac fly. Pence at first. Ordinarily with the lead, you'd be concerned about Pence running. With a hamstring injury, you are not concerned at all about him running.
He's anchored at first. Just get his secondary lead.
On the outside corner, good pitch by Butler. Eddie, originally from Richmond, went to Radford. Big star at Radford. Eddie's such a good-natured kid. You want to have a conversation, you're looking for somebody to talk to, Eddie's your guy.
Chat you up.
It's a 2-1. He went.
Yes, he went.
2-2. Brandon Crawford won the Silver Slugger Award last year in the National League for being the best offensive player at his position. Pretty good defensive player also. Gold Glover. Center field. Charlie makes the catch, 2 outs. And that'll bring up Bumgarner.
Pitcher number 40, Madison Bumgarner.
Eddie got ahead of Bumgarner in their first encounter, and then Bumgarner eventually got a pitch to hit, and he lined it to left deep enough that it worked as a sac fly and brought home Jared Parker.
His 5th all-time most home runs by Giant pitchers. Franchise record is 15.
We got to check that out. We got to run next door. We forgot to and find out if Bumgarner has ever pinch hit when there were position players available. I think he has. Bumgarner takes that 2-1. Bumgarner from the same part of the country as Eddie Butler. Eddie from Virginia. Bumgarner from Hudson, North Carolina, a town of less than 3,000 people. Chopper to short. That'll end the inning. So Butler, a couple of scoreless in a row. Rockies got to figure out Madison Bumgarner on the other side. 4-0 Giants as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Beat the sun. It's done a disappearing act quite frequently this spring in Denver. Great to see. Beautiful day at the ballpark. Great crowd. Now the Rockies need some runs. Nolan Arenado, Carlos Gonzalez, Mark Reynolds were 3, 4, and 5 in the Rockies lineup. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Brad Thompson. Nolan struck out on a fastball away his first time, and he gets a curveball for a strike. Outside, 1-1. I would say this a lot. Sometimes when a guy's had a lot of success early in his career, you forget that they're still really young. Bumgarner's 26.
Made his debut when he was just 20 years of age, 38 days against San Diego. So
that pitch looked low.
It was on the Subaru strike zone.
He doesn't need any help.
No.
Nolan regathers his thoughts. Got to put that behind you. Now it's 1-2.
There's some people behind home plate yelling, that was a strike. It's not fun when you're in the box and that count, instead of being 2-1, flips to 1-2. I know it's 2-2 now, but that prior pitch.
Good job by Nolan wasting that pitch away. Nolan's folks made their way to Boston to see Fenway Park and watch their son play against the Red Sox.
Everybody has to experience that at some point.
If you're a baseball fan.
Yeah, but then you have the pleasure of watching your son play in Fenway Park, along with all these other beautiful ballparks.
I don't know how many people can experience that, having their kid actually play.
Right, true. I'm just saying. But I was just saying, on top of just the whole experience of Fenway.
Toronto beat Boston again 10-9 today. 3-2 on Nolan. And it's tapped to Duffy. Off the bag, according to first base umpire Jim Reynolds.
Now we'll go through the usual, check the phone or check the replay. They stall. Not a good grip on the baseball from Duffy. He gets a changeup grip, so he turns it over. Looks like he's off the bag on the Subaru Supermo.
Yeah, it looks like a good call by Reynolds. It will not be challenged by Bruce Bochy.
Assuming the 5th error on Matt Duffy, just because the throw was down in the dirt. Well, it's time for our Colorado lottery pitch probability, and this is Madison Bumgarner against Carlos in his career.
See, that's a high quality swing. Again, you know, Cargo has struggled the last couple of years left on left. He's hitting below 200 against lefties this year. Madison Bumgarner, as we all know, is one of the best pitchers in baseball. And from the left side, you know, it's he and Kershaw. And Cargo consistently has great at bats against Bumgarner.
159 batting average against Madison by a left-handed batter this year.
I'll tell you an interesting story. Madison Bumgarner, I remember having a conversation with him last year. He said one of his absolute favorite guys to watch, because you know he loves to swing the bat, is Carlos Gonzalez. He said he has the prettiest swing. He said, unfortunately, he's victimized me a bunch with it. It's off the plate, 2-1.
Did Big Papi say that in his interview?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
It's gorgeous Carlos Gonzalez swing. No, I think his words were it was sexy. His swing was sexy.
That's right.
Big sexy.
Bumgarner didn't call it sexy.
No.
He just said, I love his swing. Except when he's facing me. It is an error, by the way, on Matt Duffy. Two and two. Cargo owns 5 home runs against Bumgarner. He owns 5 home runs against Ted Lilly, another lefty. These are the most he's hit individually, the most home runs he's hit against one guy. He's got Greinke 4 times. This time Bumgarner gets Cargo. 1 out.
First baseman, number 12.
Some reach back for an extra mile per hour on the fastball. Subaru Supermo up and away from Carlos. Madison gets Cargo this time.
Looking at the list of the guys that Cargo has gotten, Bumgarner, Lilly. Lilly's a good pitcher. Greinke, Dan Herron 4 times also. Those aren't exactly back of the rotation guys.
A lot of all-stars, World Series appearance between those fellas. Well, Madison is in 2014. He was the World Series MVP.
One of the greatest athletic performances I've ever seen, that Game 7. Mark Reynolds swings and misses, 1-1. Mark struck out his first time.
Madison put that ball club on his back and just said, come on along for the ride, guys, because I've got this. 7-3 with a 2.14 ERA. A couple saves in the postseason.
You go back to that game and you thought, okay, you know, maybe give him 2 or 3.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, and then even after they won it, then the big question was he going to be able to follow it up the next year? Because he's going to get hurt. Something's going to go down with him. Yet he goes out last year and throws 218 in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, what was wasn't it like 270 something with the postseason 2 years ago? This another slow roller for Duffy, and he makes a better throw. 2 outs. Arenado to second base.
Every Sunday home game this season is Bike to the Game, including tomorrow. Get more information at Rockies.com/green.
Ryan Rayburn grounded to Duffy his first time up. So the Rockies get a 2-out knock, bring Nolan home. Down 4-0 in the 4th.
So yeah, between in 2014, 270 innings pitched between the regular season and the playoffs, World Series.
It's a bunch of innings. Did not have an adverse effect on him, as you mentioned, Jeff, the next year. Also takes me to one of my pet peeves. You know what phrase I hate in baseball? Innings eater. I don't want an innings eater. I want a guy that, I mean, there's guys that, okay, you keep them out there and they got a 5 ERA, so what good is that? You want to, I understand it, but you want a guy that is still throwing up a bunch of zeros in the 6th and 7th inning. You want a high quality innings eater. How about that?
This guy is, for the last 5 years, over 200+ innings each year.
called strike. 1-2. Well, with their first three, Bumgarner, Samardzija, and Cueto, or Cueto and Samardzija, whichever way you want to go, they're getting a lot of quality and they're getting a lot of innings eaten. In fact, Cueto, who the Rockies will face tomorrow, has 3 complete games. So the less you use your bullpen, better off you are. Curveball, and that strikes out Rayburn. 4 strikeouts for Madison Bumgarner. Giants up 4-0 as we go to the 5th. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. The Giants got a 3-run home run in the first for Buster Posey after a walk and a hit batter. And then hit batter was Matt Duffy, and that was on an 0-2 count. And then Posey, the 3-run blast, and a run in the second. So Butler would love to have that pitch back to Posey naturally. He's given up only 3 hits. He struck out 4. Now Eddie's challenge is keep throwing up zeros, and hopefully the Rockies can figure out a way to score against Bumgarner. Blanco, he has struck him out twice on sliders down and in.
That's where they keep going too. Why not? Even if that pitch is in the middle part of the Subaru strike zone, it's still down. And I think that's the thing. People sometimes you'll start to overthink. Well, maybe he'll make the adjustment, be able to hit that. Well, if he hasn't shown he can handle the slider yet, then why wouldn't you throw it to him? Now they go back to the fastball, and he just puts an absolute gorgeous bunt down towards second base.
Yeah, that was perfect, wasn't it, Huey?
Second baseman.
So a bunt single for Gregor Blanco, and that'll bring up the 2-hole hitter Joe Panik. And let's visit again with Brad Thompson. Brad?
Drew, great news for Rockies fans. Adam Ottavino recovering from Tommy John surgery through a BP session today to live hitters for the first time. He faced 3 hitters through 21 pitches. It was great to see him out there. He said he felt great. He was a little bit nervous and excited last night. He barely slept last night, but great news to have him back. We'll see what the next steps are and how soon we can get him in that bullpen. Guys?
All right, Brad. Close play at first. The ball popped out. One of those hitters you could see he swung and missed was Vinny Castilla, and I was asking Vinny, because Vinny still likes to take some BP. I said, how'd that work out against Ottavino? He's like, not good.
and I said to him, because I talked to Vinny too separately, I said, was it the slider? He goes, yeah, the slider was good because we know about that. He goes, but there was movement on the fastball. I think that's what. So, yeah, Vinny is like, oh yeah, that was pretty rough.
Was it Darren Holmes or Steve Foster recently when we were chatting with them about Ottavino in a recent bullpen?
It was Holmesy.
Darren Holmes said that was the best bullpen I've ever seen. And we said, oh, from Ottavino? No, period. The best bullpen I've ever seen a pitcher throw. Said it looked like 100 miles an hour with 3 different sliders, and the movement on his fastball was, he said, grotesque. I mean, you forget how gifted Adam Ottavino is because we haven't seen him in more than a year, but he is not all that far away. Now, they're going to take their time, so I know it's toward the end of May.
Right.
You're not going to see him, you know, in a week. But, you know, 5-6 weeks, somewhere in that time frame, somewhere early mid-July.
And Brad alluded to it as far as what Adam was saying, that he was nervous, could hardly sleep. He said each time he gets to a new step in the rehabilitation process, same thing happens to him. He can't sleep the night before. He doesn't even remember. He said it was a good thing that this was early in the morning at 11:15. He goes, I'm not sure I could have waited around all day. Like a little kid for Little League. You just, I can't wait to get to the ball yard.
Two-0 runner going, and Garneau's throw. Story pointed immediately to the dugout. That's the new thing. You always look for the fielder.
And this was not an easy pitch, or catch, excuse me, at second base.
All right.
So now does he keep his foot on that tag? And that's what infielders are taught now. But the skipper, so you go down to try to catch it, you catch it and apply the tag.
And it may be, let's watch the back foot, because the front foot's going to pop off, and Trevor keeps the glove on. Now, the question is, did that front foot completely come off? Because the back foot, he had the glove.
Oh,
look,
he's out. He's out.
Yeah, well, look at him. He's not even on the bag now. He is out. And now Walt signaling to Manny Gonzalez, who will signal to Fielding Colbreth that he wants it reviewed. So C.B. Buckner, who made the call, will join Fielding Colbreth, and we'll go to New York. Good pick it short by Story.
Great pick. Because when that ball hits and you have a guy sliding into you, you have to try to figure out, one, where the hop's going, but then to know where that foot is going to go is the second component of all of this. And then Trevor having the smarts to keep that tag on Gregor Blanco.
Let's see this one. It seems like, you know, for an instant,
that toe comes off.
Doesn't have either foot on the bag.
Slide, tag. See, I think that's where he gets the front part of the
He's got
foot.
Right, because he's got the glove between.
In the position, yeah, so he can't get to the back.
Yeah, the front foot came off. This is kind of a complicated one.
Because where's the right foot when the left foot is out?
There you go. So Garneau, with the great tag by Trevor Story, cuts down Gregor Blanco, 1 out in the 5th.
Again, kudos to Brian Jones in the video room to order that replay. And to Trevor for holding the tag down.
3-0 on Panic. 3-1. Panic reached on a walk in the first inning, would come around on the Posey 3-run home run, also ground ball to second. Last night he threw out a couple of hits. And this is lifted to center field. Blackman's got it for the second out, and that'll bring up Matt Duffy. Duffy hit by a pitch in the first and then doubled down the third base line in the third. Rockies, with their win last night, snapped a 5-game winning streak for San Francisco. It also snapped a 7-game road winning streak for the Giants. And it snapped a 10-game winning streak within the National League West for the Giants. Giants did make a move right before the ball game, Huey.
Yeah, they had to put Matt Cain, like we thought, on the DL.
Story wheels, fires, and gets his man. Pretty play by Trevor Story with the pirouette Barishnikov would be proud of. The Duffy gone. We'll go to the bottom half of inning number 5. The Giants leading 4-0. Win. Get 50% off your online order at Papa John's. You can do that today. Use the promo code ROCKSWIN at papajohns.com. The view from the rock pile. Christian Adames leading things off. He had a base hit in the second. One of just 2 hits for the Rockies. 7, 8, 9 here in the 5th. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Eddie spots due up, a couple hitters down. I see Jorge De La Rosa getting loose now in the Rockies bullpen. But he just got up.
Eddie's kind of settled in nicely, and it'll be interesting to see how Walt handles this. If the first 2 guys don't reach, I would think Butler would hit, just a guess.
Yeah, just looking at his pitch count, where you are in the ball game.
And Adames throws out another hit. He's got a gapper to right center field. And Christian's going to turn up the gas and head towards third. He's in with a triple.
I've got you, Madison. 2 for 2 today. First triple this season for Christian. The single to left field. This time he stays on the curveball from Madison. Deposited in the right center field gap and then motors all the way with the head first slide on the Subaru Supermo. Dirt flying all over the place. Helmet coming off. And a happy Christian at third base with nobody out.
Second career triple for Christian Adames. Now Garneau at the plate. High on Garneau, 1-0. Garneau has picked up some monumental hits in his career against some big names. He got his first career hit against Max Scherzer. He got his first career home run against James Shields, guy who's pretty good also. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and missed, 1 and 2.
Off the light standard at Fenway Park. What Madison, what makes him so difficult in these counts, 1-2, is that he has enough fastball to beat you in, but he also has that sweeping slider that he can start off the plate away from you and then just nick the corner.
2-2. Garneau out of Cal State Fullerton. So you look at Adames at third. Good story. Dustin was a 19th round pick. Now 3-2.
Looks like they're trying to stay up on the Subaru strike zone to Dustin.
Daniel Descalso has a helmet on the bat. Eddie Butler for the moment in the on-deck circle.
The only right-handed batter you have now is DJ on the bench.
You probably want to save him. It's launched a long way, but foul.
Your two choices after that would be Daniel or Gerardo.
You know, that's the issue when you shorten your bench and add the arm, which you need to do at Coors Field. You know, sometimes you're limited. It's fouled off as well. You're limited with the options you have. We were discussing at Huey the other day, there are more and more teams, especially when you come to Coors Field, that will add an arm in the bullpen. And the Rockies been going that way all year, and it's worked out fine for them.
The Giants coming into the series had an extra arm in their bullpen.
They added Chris Stratton today. We're starting to tell that story. Kane went on the DL. Good at bat from Garneau. And now they're 2 on, nobody out. Butler will be called back. And Descalso will hit. Now Eddie really just a victim of the scoreboard right now. He's pitching fine after that 3-run home run in the first inning. I mean, Eddie's given up only 4 hits. And Conley coming over, and I think he did a good job. Of course, he's disappointed, but you got to score some runs. And the Rockies, you're not going to get many opportunities against Bumgarner, and they have one right now.
You have to take your chances when the game dictates you have that opportunity, and right now is one of those chances. You know, it's a left-on-left matchup. All the numbers with Madison 159 against, but a runner on third, runner on first, and nobody out. Got to play for a bigger inning.
And Daniel's been swinging the bat well since coming off the DL.
Five for 10 since coming off with that broken hand.
Lifted to left field. Adames, and the wind's blowing it in. Adames is not going to run. The ball is just too shallow, and Parker has a good arm. So there's 1 out, and that'll bring up Blackman.
He might have tried it if that wind hadn't kept bringing the ball back towards the infield. The flags are blowing in from left center field. Flags in the wind. Don't run yourself out at home.
Charlie, a double in the first and a fly ball to right. On the corner, strike one. Charlie with 18 ribbies had that top spot in the lineup, and keep in mind he was on the DL.
We said 360 with runners in scoring position.
Blackman lines it to center, and it's caught. Here comes Adames down the line. Throw is not in time, and Garneau dives back into first. And the Rockies have a run. It's 4-1. Sac fly for Blackman.
19 RBIs on the season for Charlie. Another ball right on the screws. For a moment, thought it might have a chance to get down, but just hung up long enough so Gregor Blanco could catch it. Buster Posey came out to cut that ball off, thinking he could throw behind Dustin, but Christian too fast.
Story's had two good at-bats against Bumgarner. He lined out to center his last time up. Spins a curveball over. Predominantly been fastball curveball today for Madison Bumgarner.
The only other pitch that he throws, and he only throws it 3% of the time, is a changeup. So he'll need fastball, four-seam, cut the two-seamer into the hands, and then the curveball.
Trevor's in a ditch, 0-2. Story, the 23-year-old Texan. Garneau with 2 outs at first. So that ends the inning. The Rockies get a leadoff triple from Adames. He would score on the sac fly by Blackman. It's 4-1 now as we go to the 6th. Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Rockies got a run in the last half inning. Now the 6th with Eddie Butler being pinch hit for. They'll turn it over to Jorge De La Rosa. This is a different role for De La Rosa. It's been a long time since he's come out of the bullpen.
You see it at the bottom of the graphic there, July 12, 2009. And it had been a while prior to that. It had taken him a whole year to do it. So the last time before that was 2008. But he has done it in his career. 62 ball games, 4-3 with a 5.38 ERA. It's just new and different for Jorge. After all the starting, all the success he's had, it wasn't going well. So they're moving him to the bullpen for a little bit to see how that will go.
And the first pitch misses to Buster Posey, ball one. Posey was 0 for 9 lifetime against Eddie Butler, and he got him in the first inning to deep right center field, a 3-run home run. Really, other than that sequence, the walk to Panic and hitting Duffy on an 0-2 pitch.
I think that pitch to me was really the one. I not understand the walk, but I could see that because he's still early in the game. But 0-2, and then he hit the batter to bring up Buster.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those ones where he just grazed him, or I mean, he squared him up with a fastball that got away from him. And then of course you're dealing with Posey, who was due to have some success against. He's just too good not to. 1-2 on Posey. You know, but again, to Eddie's credit, Huey, we've seen a ton of games at Coors Field, and they're in the 6th inning. 4 is an amount you can overcome. De La Rosa with the strikeout of Posey. As Bumgarner was doing his thing, it's not easy, but it's kept the Rockies in the game.
Just down by 3 runs. Who knows what can happen? Nice start for Jorge. Split finger on the Subaru Supermo, coming out of the bullpen for the first time since '09 to get your first guy out, and that being Buster Posey.
And now Brandon Belt. Ground ball to short and fly ball to center. And that's going to drop in front of Cargo. He will gladly sacrifice the bat.
Barrel ended up past first base.
Hunter Pence coming up.
Where did this get? Oh, right off the end of the bat.
Pence reached on an error, also a strikeout. Line to left, and it's knocked down there by Rayburn. Good job by Ryan. He didn't want to let that go by him. He became a hockey goalie.
Sacrifice the body.
Two on, one out. Jared Parker coming up. A double and a strikeout from Parker.
Left fielder, number 6, Jared Parker.
It's kind of flip-flop Tuesday and Saturday for the Rockies. On Tuesday, De La Rosa made the start at Fenway and got into fairly early trouble, and Eddie Butler relieved him. And today Eddie Butler goes 5 innings, leaves for a pinch hitter, and De La Rosa is following him to the mound.
Let's start in Boston. De La Rosa 3 1/3, gave up 7 earned runs on 9 hits. Eddie relieved him in that game through 2 2/3. But to De La's credit, talking to Walt, said he understood. And he took it, said, I'll just do my best out here.
Double play ball. There's one, and there's 2. Nicely turned by the Rockies. Adames Story on to Reynolds. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th, 4-1 San Francisco. This was the Wives grab bag. Remember over the weekend they were doing this. It's their annual Wives grab bag. They raise money for Make-A-Wish Colorado and Denver Children's Advocacy Center. And we bought when we got Chad Bettis' autograph. And that's a good start to the 6th inning. First pitch from Bumgarner, a laser from Arenado up the middle. Third time through the lineup now for the Rockies. Here's Chad.
Chad will be the Monday afternoon starter on Memorial Day.
Christian Bergman to his right. Some of the Wives.
Fantastic event. Last year they raised over $25,000, hoping to surpass that this year. I was talking to Dallas Davis this morning. I said, how did yesterday's go? He said, outstanding. Bags were sold out quickly.
Cargo lifts his ball to shallow left. This is going to drop. Good read by Arenado. He stops at second, and now the Rockies will get the tying run to the plate in Mark Reynolds. It started so innocently.
Oh, you get the solid line drive to center, and the blooper to left.
Cargo with a 6-game hitting streak now. Mark, a strikeout and a ground ball to third. That'd be a perfect time to hit his 3rd home run of the year. It's been 31 days. In between, he's gotten a lot of hits. Just hasn't hit one over the wall in a while. Ball 1. A couple of guys from the right side with plenty of pop, and Reynolds to be followed by Ryan Rayburn.
Mark's 3rd in the National League with runners in scoring position. Tied with Herrera. Both of them together.
Odubel Herrera with the Phillies, who was a rookie last year, is having quite a season. Steve Piscotty had a grand slam yesterday for the Cardinals. One. Reynolds came in 4 for 9 with the home run in his career against Bumgarner. Leading all National League first baseman in batting average. Came in at .319. Posey flashed back to his days as a shortstop.
I was just thinking that because he's sliding to one side and then just put his glove out and picked it, threw it back. There was no pretense of sliding over and dropping down to your knees in case you had to get by you and you're blocking it.
2-2 on Mark Reynolds, who when he broke into pro ball out of the University of Virginia was a shortstop.
That's out.
3-2.
I thought it was further out than that on the Subaru strike zone.
Crowd sensing this is one of those moments. Rockies down by 3 in the 6th. Good swing. Pitches in for Bumgarner.
54 strikes. close. Todd used to stand to the on-deck circle. Ryan Rayburn's probably only about 15 feet away, trying to gauge Madison.
That's closer than Helton used to stand. Another 3-2.
Another foul ball. Tried everything. Slider, 2 cut fastballs.
You get it that third time through, Huey. Take us through. You kind of have a feel for, you know what the guy has because you faced him before, but what it looks like that day, right?
Right, exactly, and that's the key. That day, what is the ball moving and how's it doing? Is it coming out of his hand? Even if you might face him twice. One might be 90 miles an hour, the next time 90, but sometimes that late life, does it have any extra zip on it that day?
3-2. Quality at bat from Mark Reynolds. More room in the Subaru strike zone.
10th pitch coming of this at bat.
Nolan began the inning with a sharp single to center. Cargo followed it up with a sand wedge to left. Great crowd on a Saturday afternoon at Coors Field for the Rockies and Giants. With a victory, the Rockies get back to 500. Ball 4, and they're loaded up for Ryan Rayburn. What an AB for number 12.
10 pitches to draw that walk. Good Dave Righetti to come out, and this is just a chance to go out there. Calm him down pitch by pitch. Inside, ball 1. First of many foul balls to make it 1-1. Then it's 1-2, and now the work has just begun. 2-2. And that was the borderline pitch. Foul ball. Foul ball. You get the picture.
Let me ask you this now. Put yourself in a batter's helmet again. Ryan Rayburn is nobody out. It's a guy who comes off the bench a fair amount. Just walked the guy for the second time. Getting up there and pitching. Do you ambush him?
Yeah, I ambush him with that first fastball. I know guy comes off the plate, but he's seen him twice already today. So he's gauging what he's doing. The old rule of thumb, too, after a pitching coach goes out to the mound, it's a fastball after that. So you got to play the percentages and the odds, and he's going to pitch you a fastball right now.
Here we go. Now Rayburn got a fastball, but it was out of the zone. It's 1-0. Ryan hitting in the 6th spot in the lineup. Ground ball to third and a strikeout swinging. Bases full of Rockies, nobody out. 4-1 San Francisco, bottom of 6. Outfield straight up, infield straight up.
It's the second time this season for Ryan to come up with the bases loaded.
Tell you what, the wind he's picked up, it's swirling all over the place. Here's the 1-1. This is the right guy at the plate. Don't know how it's going to work out, but a slower heartbeat. He's been around a long time.
The block, not just once, twice, maybe 3 times.
Yep.
So he's been in the pressure situations. He's heard the crowd get excited when you step into the box, and that's when you have to remind yourself it's the pitcher is the one that's in trouble now.
He's got to come in there. 2-1.
Javi Lopez and Derek Law, the lefty and the righty, have joined up into the bullpen for San Francisco getting loose.
Was a good at bat for Mark Reynolds. Fouled off a number of pitches before earning the trip to first. There's the aforementioned Lopez and Law. 2-2. Adames on deck. And they've gone as far as they can go. Bases loaded. Full count on Ryan Rayburn.
This is the moment you live for. I mean, you're sitting in your backyard growing up, bases loaded, full count, going against one of the top pitchers.
We'll do it again. Again, bases loaded, nobody out. 2 singles and a walk.
Been 18 pitches this inning, but they've been a hard 18.
Stressful. Lifted to right, twisting with the wind into the crowd.
Hunter Pence was coming in. That's how much that ball drifted to the right, because he started in and then had to make a sharp left turn. So Hunter's coming in. Whoop, there we go. There's the wind and the ball drifted into the seats.
Year-old Ryan Rayburn, 3-2. And swung on and missed, 1 out.
Madison won this battle. He went fastball. Ryan just swung through it. It's Hardy on that.
Six strikeouts for Bumgarner. Adames has been the guy that has had the best swings of the afternoon against Bumgarner. Sharp single and then a triple to right center field. This is his last at bat.
Triple curveball and then legs it out. Head first dive before the tag of Matt Duffy. Another one of those will work right now.
Big time. Blanco shaded now a little bit more toward right center. 1-1.
Just breaking down the swing of Christian from the right side to the left side. They're almost identical because he just spreads out. Doesn't use much of a leg kick or anything like that. It's not a whole big load. It's just go up on the toe, get a little momentum going back before you go forward.
1-2, right at the bottom of the strike zone.
And those are just pitcher's pitches. You hope to get a mistake, or you hope to get one in a better location.
Nolan at third, Cargo's at second, Mark Reynolds at first. 1 out, 1-2. Tried to cut it in on the hands of Adames. Even with Rayburn, even with the 3-2 counts, he stayed out of the middle of the plate. 2-2. Job by Adames.
That's a veteran pitcher.
Just doesn't give in.
Well, because I mean, Madison, with the bases loaded, he's only given up 2 career home runs. So, I mean, he's not going to pitch right in the middle. He's going to shave the corner still because of his pinpoint control.
Adames, 24 years of age, career .281 minor league hitter. Three and 2 again.
First it was Mark Reynolds, then it was Ryan Rayburn. Now it's Christian Adames' turn to take this to full count.
Now 102 pitches. However this turns out, got to figure this will be all after this inning for Bumgarner. The Rockies hope to knock him off right here. Ground ball deep in the hole. Good pickup by Crawford, and on to first, double play. And the Rockies do not score after loading the bases with nobody out. Ouch. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. Well, Tyler Chatwood became one of only 6 Rockies pitchers last night to throw 7 or more innings and allow no earned runs and no walks at Coors Field. The last to do it was the current Pittsburgh Pirate, Juan Nicasio, in 2011. Tough inning for the Rockies. They load the bases against Bumgarner with nobody out. Rayburn gets it to a 3-2 count, fouls off a couple of pitches, and then swings through a fastball. And then on a 3-2 pitch, this ball's pretty well hit. Look out. Crawford retired there on the fly ball to left center. And then on a 3-2 pitch, you know, game of inches. If that ball's, you know, another couple of feet to the right of Crawford, it goes into left field, probably a 2-run single. Instead, it turns into a 6-4-3 double play.
Those are the heartbreakers. I mean, Brandon Crawford also made a smooth pickup on that ground ball to start that double play.
Bumgarner swings through that. Just because Bumgarner is swinging the bat here, it's not a guarantee that he's going to continue on.
Derek Law is still up now for San Francisco.
He averages 106.3 pitches per outing, and I believe he's at 104.
103.
103. Okay, he's at 103. There's only 2 guys that average more pitches per outing than Bumgarner. Their names, Jeff Samardzija and Johnny Cueto. So the Giant pitchers, their big 3 are 1, 2, and 3 in pitchers per outing.
Cueto's thrown 75 innings, Samardzija 71.
It's a fair ball, Garneau.
Live Rockies baseball is back in 2016 with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with stats, news, and much, much more. So take a look at Johnny Cueto, tomorrow's starter. Jeff Samardzija hiding behind the field camera.
2 outs, nobody on. Gregor Blanco at the plate. Blanco bunt single in the 5th against Eddie Butler. Eddie struck him out twice. Butler went 5 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts, and a hit batter. 72 pitches in all. This will be the final inning for De La Rosa, due up second next inning.
Jason Mott is up in the Rockies bullpen.
Much of sports viewings, woulda, coulda, shoulda. You think, well, okay, even if you didn't have the big inning that you'd hope with the bases loaded, if you get one or two, and it's now just a 1 or 2 run game, you're into the bullpen of the Giants. You have another 9 outs to work with.
I mean, you can even take it back to the first inning with a leadoff double by Charlie, and you didn't score any in that inning.
Your opportunities,
you've had some chances.
Yep.
They've been slim, but you had chances, and you didn't come through.
That was an interesting swing. That'll end the inning. 1, 2, 3. De La Rosa did a nice job. So we will go to the bottom of the 7th, 4-1 Giants.
Look for this time.
Let's check our Kubota pitching performance. And it tipped the cap to Madison Bumgarner. Came in 6-2, came in unbeaten in his last 6 starts, 5-0. And he would strike out 6, allowed just 1 run on 5 hits in 6 innings. And the Rockies had a great opportunity last inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bumgarner somehow wiggled out of it. He's out of the ball game now. Derek Law will take over. He faced 1 hitter yesterday. Got DJ LeMahieu to ground to second. So Law here in the 7th inning. The Giants bullpen's depleted a little bit. Sergio Romo, who normally would figure in this section of the ball game, he's on the DL right now on a rehab assignment.
He's scheduled to come back on Monday when they open up in Atlanta. His 3rd rehab appearance with Sacramento.
So Garneau will lead it off, 0 for 1 and a walk, outside ball 1. Gerardo Parra is going to pinch hit apparently. On the ground to Duffy. His foot come off the bag that time.
Well, it helps that Brandon Belt's 6'5" because it did not that time.
Who Wants Tacos fans, follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies score 7 or more runs. Now that's going to be off. Law again asked to get 1 guy with the Rockies going to Parra. We will see Lopez. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. And some news and notes from around the game. Troy Tulowitzki, who's had a rough season. In fact, yesterday he struck out 4 times. Right quad strain, something he has battled throughout his career. He was placed on the shelf today by Toronto. He's going to get an MRI, or had an MRI today. Average of just 204. Here's Parra against Javi Lopez, strike 1. Lopez was out there to face Parra and Charlie Blackmon.
The only guy that Lopez faced last night was Charlie Blackmon, and he had a base hit against Javi. Javi has been in this game a long time.
As long as he can get lefties out, he's going to stay in the game a long time.
Some of those guys, Jesse Orosco, who's pitched forever. 1,000 games for Jesse.
Jesse was different in that much of his career he was a closer. And then later on he became, you know, that left-handed specialist. For Javi, that's been his ticket throughout his career. And the other thing that's helped him is, you know, Huey, he's a great athlete. So he feels his position well. You can ham and egg it, which Bo just talked about doing. Let him go to the outfield if you're going to mix and match.
Yeah, when you have the short bench, you have to think outside the box occasionally.
When Javi Lopez was with the Rockies, he said nobody could shag fly balls better than he could.
Well, managers take notice of those things. That's why they'll put those guys in the outfield for a hitter, and then bring them back in.
No swing. Well, when Jesse Orosco was with the Mets and Roger McDowell was with the Mets, pitching coach with Atlanta, they would do that on occasion. Davey Johnson would do that with them. If there was a left-handed guy, it would be Orosco, and then they put him in the opposite corner. That's fouled off, and then McDowell would jog in from that corner outfield spot, pitch to the right-handed guy, and then he'd go back to the outfield. He did that several times.
Well, for Javi Lopez, he's appeared in 795 games, yet thrown 515 innings. So I mean, that's a lot of innings, but compared to the number of games, it tells you he's a one-hitter, maybe two-hitter guy.
2-2, 3-2. One out, 4-1 San Francisco, though the Giants haven't scored since the second. Man, a good at bat. Parra earns a walk. That'll bring up Blackmon with 1 out and 1 on. Let's go downstairs and check in again with Brad Thompson. Brad, what do you have?
Guys, Charlie Blackmon's coming to the plate. He extended his on-base streak to 23 games in the first inning with the double. And when he's on base, and it's a big deal for Trevor Story, especially who's back in the 2-hole. He likes the amount of pitches that Charlie sees during his at-bats. And then when he's on base, he's stressing out the pitchers. The pitchers are more worried about Charlie on base than they are with Trevor at the plate. So Trevor loves having Blackmon on base when he comes to the plate.
And he's been on base quite a bit. Blackmon a double. Fly ball to right, and then a sac fly on a line drive to center field to score the Rockies' only run. That came in the 5th inning. That inning began with a triple by Christian Adames. 4 runs, 6 hits for San Francisco, a run on 5 hits for the Rockies. Each team has committed an error. 2-0.
This is where, too, you're just down by 3 runs. You still have 8 outs to go. You're in the vulnerable part of the Giants bullpen. I mean, not having Sergio Romo really hurts their makeup of their club.
Absolutely. Hunter Strickland is up. They don't really have the bridge to Casilla that they're accustomed to having. Got to take a strike here.
Oh, yeah. You might even take two if you're Charlie. I mean, if that first one's in there, I mean, Hobby already was walked one left-hander and Gerardo right before you.
And he missed with it. So Lopez comes in to face two lefties, and he walks them both. He walks off the back. He knows he's going to have a visitor in a couple of moments. So the Rockies creating traffic again with some assistance from San Francisco, and Hunter Strickland will come on, and the Rockies will have Trevor Story. That when we come back. 4-1 San Francisco in the 7th. Rockies have 2 on in the 7th with just 1 out. Hunter Strickland is going to be the new pitcher for the Giants. This from the Hartford Yard Goats. Good line for Kyle Freeland today. He bounced back after his only rough outing of the year. To throw 7 innings of 2-run baseball, 7 hits, struck out 4, walked 1. Good outing for the former Thomas Jefferson star. And there's the numbers on Hunter Strickland this year. Big arm.
He can reach triple digits. Will sit at 97, 98 miles an hour in 10 career games against the Rockies. He's only allowed 1 run in 10 1/3 inning.
So here's Story, ground ball to short, line out to center, and a strikeout. Inside at 96. Hunter Strickland is from Zebulon, Georgia, a town of about 1,100 folks. His dad can reach AAA in professional baseball. He threw left-handed, and he threw in the upper 90s.
Must be in the genes then, because that's what Hunter can do too.
Kid at the plate hit a fastball.
Yes, he can.
Called strike. 1-1. Dad pitched in the Tigers organization. The 1-1. aficionados on deck. Parr at second, Blackman at first. Crowd of 39,253 this afternoon at Coors Field. Rockies have won 5 of 8 against San Francisco this year. The last couple of years they have played so well against the Giants.
The only team since 2013 to play over 500 against the Giants in the National League West.
Another foul ball that's going to land in virtually the same spot. Almost the same spot as the last one. Bumgarner goes 6 innings, allows a run on 5 hits, 6 strikeouts, a couple of walks. We get one in the gap with Charlie being the trail runner. Real good chance he'll score. Good speed aboard. Strike 3. Went slider and he painted the outside corner. It'll be left to Nolan.
They started in with that at bat, then they threw a couple down the middle, and then they end up away. Tight spin on the Subaru Supermo. 86 miles an hour. Locks Trevor up. Don't want to come through. The Rockies are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
Let's go, Nolan. You got it. Take it deep.
Outside ball 1. Big Ed has eluded the Rockies the last couple of innings. Last inning, if you're just joining us, bases loaded, nobody out. And now a couple of 3-2 sequences, one against Rayburn. Bumgarner got a strikeout, then he got a double play ball off the bat of Adames. This ball's lined to deep right center field. Get up, get out! Off the top of the wall. It'll score 2. It's a 4-3 game. And I know a lot of people are swearing at that fence right now because that would have been a game-tying 3-run home run a year ago. Off the very top of the fence in right center.
RBIs number 37 and 38 for Nolan. For a brief moment, he thought he got it. Oh man, within a foot of going out on the wall in right field. Right center. And Nolan, I think it's a mixture. Yeah, he's happy he scored a couple runs, but also a little angry because he thought he might have had a game-tying home run.
You know how these things go. It always seems like it victimizes you more than the opposition. It's felt that way so far this year. Josh Osich will come into the ball game. The Rockies within a run. bunch of other teams as well. Nolan Arenado with a 2-run double. And it's now 4-3 in his career. 59 ball games, 17 home runs, 54 driven in, and an OPS of basically 1,000. So now he represents the tying run with 2 outs in the 7th. Cargo's 1 for 3 will come up against Osich, the last left-hander down in the Giants bullpen. And Cargo is 1 for 4 lifetime against Josh Osich.
Another hard thrower. Fastball, slider, changeup for Josh. No matter how hard you throw to Cargo, he'll turn those around.
Cargo with the base hit in the 6th. Now with a 6-game hitting streak.
So I say, get Madison out of the game and then take your chances with this middle part of the Giants bullpen.
That's down, ball 1 at 96. Well, this is kind of vintage Bruce Bochy, isn't it?
Yes.
Bochy will use his bullpen. He will match up late in the game when he is on the plus side. And he has now gone through 4 pitchers here in the 7th inning. Cargo bounces it foul. Corey Guerin is throwing in the Giants' pen. Nolan with 17 RBIs against the Giants this year in 9 games.
That's why you were right. That's why he is a Giant slayer.
Here's the 1-1. Osich is trying to tie up Cargo's hands. Cargo likes that ball out over the plate. Believe it. I don't know how many times Cargo's really even keel. I don't know how many times I've seen a reaction like that. Though on the Subaru strike zone, it did catch the upper part of the zone. But look at Cargo's reaction.
You don't see that too many times. I think that was a pitch that Buster Posey framed.
Cargo hits it in the air to deep center field. Blanco going back. Look it up. See you later. Cargo has given the Rockies the lead.
First home run of the season that Osich has given up to a left-handed batter. Gets a little anger in that swing, Drew, and he takes it out to dead center. How about this inning?
That was one of the all-time take that. He didn't like the previous call. Next pitch.
I'll hit the slider out on the Subaru Supermo.
What did we say a moment ago? He wants the ball out over the plate.
Get the arms extended. They tried to come inside. They left one out. But the other part of this whole equation is if they leave it out, you still got to hit it. And Cargo did. Think about the 2 lefties that Bochy has brought in today to try to get lefties out. Javi Lopez walks 2 left-handed batters. He brings in another lefty. He gives up the home run.
What an inning. And it coming on the heels of the disappointment of the 6th inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. And probably so many people thinking, well, that was the Rockies' chance. And all right, they're going to lose to Bumgarner. Everybody seems to lose to Bumgarner and get ready for Sunday afternoon. This team
shows you the grit.
Does not turn their heads and bury it in the sand. I'll tell you what an inning.
The grit, the determination.
2-1 on Reynolds.
And part of it might have been relief that Bumgarner was out.
Reynolds with a sharp single to left. And Bochy's going to make another pitching change with Ryan Rayburn coming up. How about this inning for Colorado? It began with the Rockies down 4-1. They're up a marker right now, thanks to that man. Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC, and by Volkswagen. Carlos Gonzalez left on left against Josh Osich, hitting .196 this year against left-handed pitching. Hit one over the center field wall with a man aboard to give the Rockies a 5-4 lead. Corey Guerin on now. Ryan Rayburn at the plate. Reynolds at first after signaling.
The fifth Giants pitcher this inning alone. I mean, you had two guys come out of the bullpen, face two batters, did not retire anybody. Both of those were the left-handers. Hunter Strickland only a third of an inning. Derek Law a third of an inning. Now Corey Guerin.
That's live, foul. Jason Mott has taken a seat, and it's just Carlos Estevez, the Rockies' 8th inning man. Two strikes on Rayburn.
Kind of a throwback to the older guys coming out of the bullpen. He's not the hard flamethrower. He relies more on a slider and a sinker. About 90 miles an hour with his fastball, 82 to 83 with the slider.
Duffy will get it across, and that ends the inning. What an inning for the Rockies. They scored 4 times, highlighted by Cargo's 2-run home run. They'll carry a 5-4 lead to the 8th. Sweet swing of Cargo has given the Rockies a 5-4 lead after the sweet swing of Nolan Arenado got him within a run on the 2-run double off the top of the wall in right center field. And now the Rockies will turn to 23-year-old Carlos Estevez, the flame-throwing right-hander, 6'6" out of Santo Domingo. He'll get Panic, Duffy, and Posey, 2, 3, and 4 in the 8th inning for the Giants.
Carlos through the 8th inning last night.
This is his 3rd straight day working. Parra stays in the ball game for Rayburn in left field.
With a little extra length of that half inning, you could switch Jason Mott out for Carlos Estevez. It's not because Mott can't throw hard. It's just Walt wanted to ease him back into a situation where he had 2 or 3 appearances under his cleats before he got back out there in one of these pressure situations.
Sliders taken into right field, and it's a base hit for Panic. And there's still a ways to go in this ball game, as good as this Giant lineup is.
Third baseman number 5, Matt Duffy.
First 10,000 fans through the gates for the Rockies-Reds game on May 31st will receive a coupon for a Hebrew National Dollar hot dog.
And that's a base hit. So the Giants very quickly have 2 on and nobody out. The Rockies also very quickly have action again in their bullpen.
Gonzalez Germain.
Catcher number 28, Buster Posey.
It's a good move here. Steve Foster's going to come out, slow it down a little bit for the big kid.
Right after Dustin Garneau, it's tried to do the same thing. So instead of just the 30 seconds now that a pitching coach has, this is going to turn into almost a full minute.
Let me ask you this. You have Posey at the plate. It's Buster Posey now. Normally, this cries for a sacrifice bunt.
Not with Buster. But if he hits it on the ground at somebody, it's an easy double play.
So Panic and Duffy aboard. In the top of the 8th with the Rockies ahead 5-4. The hits are even at 8. Posey got the Giants off to a quick start. A 3-run first inning home run to right center against Eddie Butler. 1 for 3. And the slider again misses. 2-0.
Where Buster in that first inning hopped on that fastball, took it out to right center field. He was ahead in the count to Eddie, 1-0, and now at 2-0 to Carlos.
In the air, deep right center field again, and once again Posey has hit a 3-run homer, and the Giants go back on top, 7-5. Virtually the same spot.
Almost the same sequence of events. This time the pitch was up more belt high than the pitch Eddie gave up. And it was over the top of that fence in right center.
Well, 3rd day of work. Maybe not quite as sharp. Fastball at 96, taken out by Posey. 7-5 Giants.
Your attention. Now pitching for the Rockies, number 62, Gonzalez German.
The Rockies took a 5-4 lead. It didn't last long. 3-run home run Buster Posey. He has 2 of those today. And it's 7-5 San Francisco. Well, you want to miss the newest episode of The Club? Or all access in Boston as the Rockies took on the Red Sox at Fenway. Jenny gets a history lesson and a must-see conversation between Carlos Gonzalez and the Red Sox legend Big Poppy. Catch it all Sunday on The Club after the Toyota postgame show. Now there's nobody out still. Single 3-run home run. And Gonzalez Germain in to face Brandon Bell. Ball 1. It's only the third 2-home run game of Posey's career. If you look at the numbers on Germain.
Thing about this top half of the 8th inning, how quickly it happened. 7 pitches. Go from having a 1-run lead to down by 2.
And that is pulled to the corner and right, and it'll be a double for Bell. Buster Posey with the 6 RBIs, tying his career best, set in July of 2010 at Miller Park against the Brewers. Just the second time he's done that. One of the things about this Giant stretch where they've won 13 out of 15, it's been all about the starting pitching. They had an ERA about 1.5 from their starters during the last 15. And they got another great start today from Madison Bumgarner. And the offense has done just enough. It's not like usually when you have a run like that, Huey, you know, it's a combination of good pitching and you're really swinging the bat well. That really hasn't been the case. Today, the Giants got off to the quick start, didn't do much, and then the big inning here.
How many 1-run games have they played in during that stretch? Come from behind wins, walk-offs.
And this is line toward Cargo, and he comes up with the catch. Boy, that's big. Pence kind of took an extra long stare out there. He thought he had a knock.
And you can't hesitate as an outfielder, because if you hesitate, you're lost. There was no hesitation here. Cargo goes parallel to the ground on the Subaru Supermo. Great break on the baseball. You hit a home run last inning. Now the diving catch this inning.
They may need him to hit another bomb before this thing's over.
Oh, that's all right.
Jared Parker. Yeah, Jared Parker, 1 for 3. Belt at second. You know, Mott was up, and Mott's thrown 1 inning so far, and it was electric stuff in Boston. You and I were chatting during the commercial break. He might be in a spot right now where they don't want to get him up and down multiple times. That's a base hit to center, and around third. Here comes Belt. The throw by Blackman is going to take a hop over the mound, and now it's a 3-run lead, 8-5. The throw back to first didn't get Parker. So Germain has given up 3 hard-hit balls. But anyhow, to finish the thought on Mott, you remarked to me during the break that it may be one of those deals again where we're coming off a shoulder injury. You don't want to get him hot, cold, hot again.
Yeah, not after missing 40+ games to start the season. You just activated him again. If you were going to use him, he was ready to go. Then they changed course. So for him, he's down. You don't want to get him hot, and then the worst case would be that flares back up again and you lose him again for another 2 months.
Brandon Crawford's 0 for 3. Right now, Germain's not fooling anybody. Those are 4 line shots off of Gonzalez.
This whole inning, they haven't fooled the Giants.
Nobody's up in the Rockies bullpen.
Pitcher, number 62, Corey Gearin.
Corey Gearin had to quickly grab his helmet and his bat.
Well, you think about it. Contos got beat up last night. Casilla they're saving for the 9th inning. Law's been used. Lopez, Osich, Strickland. The only guy left is the guy that they just brought up who's more. They wanted him as a long haul guy. He's more of a starting pitcher. Stratton.
Stratton was called up because they did put Matt Cain on the DL today with their right hamstring strain after leaving the ball game last night when he threw only an inning and 2/3. He gave up the hit to left field and then said, "That's it, I can't go."
First career plate appearance for Gearin.
Try to ask him to bunt.
Oh and 1. Looks like he hasn't done that in a while.
The first one didn't look like he was too committed to sticking his nose into the bunt.
Based on that, they took the bunt off. 0 and 2.
Just looking down at Roberto Kelly, their third base coach. He just flashed the sign, meaning just take this pitch. There he does it again. Just flash the finger saying,
don't put it in play.
No.
If you can't put it in play.
Oh, well, I guess he didn't see the sign.
He may hit 1,000 for his career because I don't know if he'll get another opportunity.
Right.
Now the bases are loaded. And
I mean, this is
that
how
is 7 hits in the inning for the Giants. 7 out of 8. The only guy who made it out was Pence, and it took a diving catch by Cargo.
All right, so he's supposed to take the pitch. Like what? He swung. Okay, base hit.
He didn't know that signal.
He didn't. I looked down at Bruce Bochy in the dugout. He did the same thing, looking at Roberto Kelly. Threw his hands up almost in the same way.
The Rockies will make a pitching change. This inning has been, in a word, a disaster. 8-5 Giants, 1 out and have the bases loaded again.
to the Rockies. 4 runs in already, and the bases loaded, just 1 out. Hey fans, you elect to celebrate, Nolan Arenado during the first player-elect game on June 1st. Now buy the ticket package online and get an exclusive Arenado t-shirt with the number 28 on it, June 1st against the Cincinnati Reds. New pitcher for the Rockies, Justin Miller. Try to end this onslaught of offense the Giants have thrown together in this top half of the 8th inning. 7 base hits, just 1 out, and that took a great catch from Cargo in right field. Now the top of the order and the 9th man to bat this inning.
Ground ball is going to find its way through the right side. That'll score 2. Cargo's throw to third. Not going to get Corey Gearin, and now it's 10-5. You kidding me? 6 runs in the inning, still just 1 out. Rockies had all the momentum in the world in their dugout, and this inning has just been awful.
Now the guy that started it all off, Joe Panik, with the single, comes up again for the 2nd time in the 8th inning. And now you're down by 5. 10th RBI of the season for Blanco.
Breaking ball for a strike. Time was called. You know, for a while this game was about good pitching. Bumgarner certainly, and Eddie Butler after the first couple innings settled in nicely. Rockies got 2 good innings out of Jorge De La Rosa. The Rockies threw the 4th spot up in the bottom of the 7th, and this inning for San Francisco, they haven't swung the bats like this in a while.
10 earned runs have been given up, but just 4 outs recorded in the last inning or half inning plus.
Two and 1. 3 and 1. Runner going, line drive that'll turn into a double play. That'll end the inning. The Giants score 6 times, 10-5. They lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. In the last half inning for the Giants, they now lead 10-5 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Christian Adames leading off. Dustin Garneau and Gerardo Parra against the sinker baller Corey Gearin. One of 5 pitchers used, the last of 5 pitchers used in the Rockies' 4-run 7th inning. Well, kickstart the offense again. Just watch the Giants do it.
It's your only choice. You still have 6 outs to play with. Not many guys left in that bullpen for San Francisco.
Ball and a strike on Adames. Single and a triple. And they hit into that 6-4-3 double play to end the threat in the 6th inning. Rockies had the bases loaded, nobody out, didn't score. Kind of looked bleak after that, and then the Rockies erupted for 4 last inning. 2-1. Rockies had come into this ball game, Huey, having allowed only 12 home runs in the month of May, which was by far the lowest amount in Major League Baseball.
When you had some teams in the high 20s, maybe even into the 30s. Oakland had given up the most with 39.
There it is. That's with the 2 today. The Rockies still 5 less than the Marlins, 6 less than the Giants. We know how well they've pitched this month. 3-2. 2 home runs from the same guy, Buster Posey. One of those guys, one of those star players that has always hurt the Rockies.
Well, and it doesn't matter. We talked about his numbers and how low they were. Yet every time he goes up there, you know he's going to be a dangerous guy.
Well, he just got such a pure swing and a great approach. And yeah, he hadn't done much against the Rockies this year. Historically, his numbers were off the charts. 6 runs in the 7th by the Giants, their biggest inning of the year. So Adames reaches on the walk, Garneau at the plate. Funny game because the strength of the Rockies over the last couple of weeks has been their bullpen.
Well, and especially Carlos Estevez.
Yep.
What he has done.
He looked like just off a click. I mean, his fastball instead was, still 95, 96, pretty good, but he's been 97 to 99.
And third time in a row, or third day in a row that he's had to throw. But then the very first pitch we saw, it was 95. And just didn't seem like he had that extra on the fastball today, and then fell behind 2 pitches to Buster, and then left one up belt high.
One and one on Garneau. It's something we've seen Bochy do before also. He's had Casilla down for a couple of days. If Gearin gets into trouble.
4-out save.
Yeah, and We've seen coaching do that. Ask his closer to get 4 or 5 outs. 1 out, and that'll bring up Parr.
When you're short in the pen with experienced guys, that's when he'll do it too. Experience, I'm meaning more of the Sergio Romo.
Parr is second at bat. He walked and scored last inning. He pinch hit. Javi Lopez came in to face him. He walked, and then Charlie Blackmon also naturally faced Lopez. And Javi walked Blackmon.
Both those guys came around to score.
On the booming double by Nolan. And then the next hitter was Carr going on a 2-2 pitch. He hit one over the center field fence, and the Rockies went from a 4-3 deficit to a 5-4 advantage. Unfortunately, he was very short-lived. 10-5 San Francisco. Rockies have won 5 straight at home. Two and 1 on Gerardo. It's hard to walk Parr. He's walked just 3 times this year. Now is his first walk since April the 26th. About 1 a month.
It was a big one in that 7th inning. Drew almost on cue. Santiago Casilla is in the bullpen, getting loose now for Bruce Bochy. Just in case he wants to use it for an extra out. Chad Qualls in the Rockies bullpen.
That's fouled off. 2-2 it remains. That's a great play by Joe Panic.
Watching that, I thought Belt would have the best chance to try to get this, and then he didn't. I didn't even expect Joe Panic to be in the picture, but he got a great jump on it. How about the dive and stretch on the Subaru Supermo? And the short toss to first.
Blackmon's had another productive day. Double, sac fly, also a walk and a run scored. 1 for 2 officially.
Today, Colorado 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Both of those were in that last 7th inning. The ankle protector got him more on the shin. Kind of Murphy's law. If he's not covering that, you'll foul it off onto the shin and get the big goose egg.
Ball and a strike on Blackmon. Charlie fouls that one away. 1-2. Second base, Christian Adames. He led the inning off with a walk. Christian's been on 3 times today.
Got it, Charlie. Take it deep.
Blackmon crushed that, but it's foul. Got the barrel out, didn't he?
He did on the slider from Gearin. It's the same one that he fouled off on his shin 2 pitches prior.
That's a good job right there.
It's Todd Helton-esque.
I'm not going to leave it on the umpire. It was an emergency hat.
You just hope when you swing that you get enough of it to foul it off, because you can't do any damage with it. You can't even throw it out in the left field for a base hit, yet it's too close to take. So you just try to just spoil it for another pitch.
Gearin strikes out Blackmon to end the inning. Adames left in second. We'll go to the 9th. 10-5 Giants.
(10-5) as we head to the 9th inning here at Coors Field. Mark Stout and Corey Sullivan. We've got the Toyota postgame show coming up. Corey, I was up here. I'm down here now, and I want to get back here somehow. So.
Well, they only got 3 outs to get you there.
I know. Hopefully something happens here in the 9th inning.
Yeah, Eddie Butler threw the ball well, man. He gave him a chance to win, and the offense got some timely hitting. They weren't very good at situational hitting earlier on in the game, but they got a chance still.
We have more to discuss, and there's more baseball to be played. So we go back to Drew and Jeff. Guys.
All right, fellas, thanks very much. Chad Qualls is on the mound, and this is an historic appearance for Chad. It is number 800 in his career, which is tied for 47th all-time with Francisco Cordero. Walter Johnson, the big train, next up at 802. And a good friend of yours, a guy you played behind many times, Nolan Ryan, appeared 807 games.
Talks about the durability for some of these pitchers, and for Chad, it's been in the game a long time to make 800 appearances.
I know Ryan was working early in his career out of the bullpen while he figured out the command issues. I never ever would have guessed that he appeared in that many games.
No, because he started all those games later on in his career, but still to pile up over 800.
Something else.
But Jesse's number 1 on that list, Jesse Orosco.
There's the 1-0 on Matt Duffy, fouled off.
And for Nolan, he had 773 starts.
Say that again.
773 starts.
That's absurd. And that's something else I never would have guessed.
No.
Nice catch. Mark Reynolds, 1 out.
Time to leap on that snag perfectly. Wait. When do I go? Right now. Catch it at the apex, and nice snag from Mark.
Posey, 2 3-run home runs today. One in the first gave the Giants a 3-0 lead, and then the one last inning erased a 5-4 deficit. This for a guy that began the day hitting below 100 against the Rockies, and both home runs went in almost the same spot.
Both into the bullpen of the Giants. And after that second home run, it just gave them life to the Giants in their dugout. They just wrapped out a few more hits after.
They didn't miss a barrel last
They
inning.
did not.
They had 8
well,
hits.
Even the double play line drive that Justin Miller gave up. I mean, the base runner Blanco was stealing, line drive to Trevor, and he caught it and tagged Blanco for the 3rd out. But that ball was hit hard.
The other out was the sinking line drive off the bat of Hunter Pence that Cargo laid out coming in and made the catch on. Literally every ball that was hit last inning, 9 of them. Actually 10 of them. This ball's in the air to Parra deep left. Every ball was barreled last inning by the Giants.
So you get 6 runs.
Here's our CenturyLink link to what's next. The pitching matchup tomorrow. The Rockies have another tough assignment. They're to see Johnny Cueto. The new Giant is 7-1, a 2.38 ERA. League hitting just 2.29 against him. Chris Russin for Colorado. And Chris will try to slow down Johnny Cueto, slow down this Giant lineup. Outside ball 1 on Brandon Belt. I thought that thing was going to have one of the reverse English on and all of a sudden make a right turn. Fortunately, it did.
Be in foul territory, then go back into fair.
Going to be another double for Belt. Belt has returned to the lineup after missing a couple days. Single, double, double.
And the last
3 for 5.
Yeah, and the last 2 doubles broke an 0 for 19 streak against right-handed pitching.
Hunter Pence, who's been out for more than a week. 1 for 4. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pence. That's through the left side, a base hit. Bell will stop at third. Giants have 16 hits all of a sudden. 10 in the last inning and 2/3. I looked up on the board going to that 8th inning and said, boy, the Rockies, you know, Butler settled in. De La Rosa did a solid job. Just 6 hits through 7 innings at Coors Field. I mean, you know, that's a terrific performance. And now they have 16.
8 hits for the Rockies. There's a number in the San Francisco notes, too. When they out-hit their opponents, they're 20-0. The only Major League team to be undefeated when they out-hit the opponent.
Parker fouls that off. Chad Call's originally a 2nd-round pick of Houston back in 2000. Got to the big leagues with Houston in 04. 08 moved on to Arizona. Also pitched for Tampa, San Diego, Philadelphia, the Yankees, the Pirates, the Marlins, Houston again the last 2 years, and now the Rockies. Parker 2 for 4. Scored a couple runs. Also has an RBI. Left center field, Parr and Blackman communicating. It'll be Charlie. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. 10-5, San Francisco. Rockies come to bat in the bottom of the 9th inning. Story, Arenado, Gonzalez against Santiago Casilla.
Bruce Bochy's seen what's happened in this game, how many runs have been scored. He's not taking any chances, going straight to his closer. He's seen Coors Field before many, many times.
Well, between San Diego and San Francisco, he's managed probably more than a season's worth of games here at Coors Field. Story this afternoon, 0 for 4. Ground out, line out, couple of strikeouts, one looking. Outside, ball one. In there, 2-1. Casilla, 35 years of age, began his career in 04 with Oakland. He has spent his entire career in Northern California.
38 saves a year ago. The 2.79 ERA.
3-1. Oh, it's called a strike. 2-2.
Late strike.
Yeah.
Was on the Subaru strike zone, but it was real late. Manny Gonzalez.
Rob Nen has the all-time saves record with the Giants, 206. Rod Beck second, Brian Wilson third, and there's a strikeout of Story.
Still don't understand how Rob Nen can generate so much velocity with that fastball, where he would start with that lead foot and then kind of hit the ground and then keep going. I mean, it's not something you teach if you're given pitching lessons.
No, probably not. Nolan, 2 for 4. Big 2-run double in the 7th with 2 outs to get the Rockies within a run. And then Cargo would hit the 2-run blast to give the Rockies a 5-4 lead. Pitch, 0-2.
It's a pitch that he's developed over the years, because he used to be just, here's my fastball and I'll mix in a slider, hit it if you can. But now he'll mix in an occasional curveball. Take something off the fastball. There's a slider.
He's been big in the postseason as well. He has a string going of 19 straight postseason appearances without allowing a run. It's an ongoing streak for Casilla, the longest ever. Mariano Rivera 23 straight. Jeremy Affeldt, his teammate, went 22 straight. And that's a sharply hit ball. Crawford comes up with it and gets the out. So Crawford drives Nolan, 2 outs.
Brandon Crawford, just 1 error on the season, playing a demanding position, and then he makes that spectacular play. Lays out, comes up with the grab.
Cargo got nearly 40,000 out of their chairs in the 7th inning on a 2-2 fastball from Josh Osich.
That was about 10 or 15 feet over the wall.
Oh, and 1 on Cargo. Cargo's hitting 7 straight now. I think we can officially say that slump is over.
It's over.
Probably could have officially said that a couple of days ago. Work he did at Fenway. This is bounced up the middle, and it'll get through. So Cargo's got a 3-hit day. Huey, let me ask you this. Unless the Rockies come up with a miracle here with 2 outs, you've been in clubhouses after great wins, after blowout wins, after tough losses, after blowout losses, after, you know, ones like this where it was kind of an emotional roller coaster. How will it play in the clubhouse if the Rockies fall?
It'll sting. It'll sting because you had a couple chances, and then you go up against Madison Bumgarner. You know it's going to be a tough day when you come to the ball field that day. And then you didn't sneak any runs out in that 1 inning when they had bases loaded. But then you get it back and think, okay, here we go. And then in a blink of an eye, it was gone. So this one will hurt them a little bit. They'll think about it, but they can't think too long because they have Johnny Cueto tomorrow.
Again, 3 straight day games, with Monday being Memorial Day. I think I said Cargo's hitting 7 straight. It's 6 straight.
3 or 4 multi-hit games now for Cargo.
Yeah, he's hitting 480 during the 6-game hitting streak. 0-2 on Mark Reynolds. Mark has reached 2 more times today. On the ground to third, and that'll end it. So the Giants led early. Rockies took a brief lead, and then they erupt for 6 runs in the 8th inning, and the Giants